Hi there, I'm Cole, and today we're going to be looking at the new LEGO Speed Champions sets, and I'm going to tell you guys what I think of them. We're also going to look at these new kind of like Hot Wheels Speed Champions that Hot Wheels have released, and we're going to talk about them because they're very similar, and I think they're very interesting. Then before we start, I just got over a cold, so if I sound funny, please excuse it. And you may have noticed that my website, MCGWERKS.com, has been down in the past couple weeks. It is back up, it is fully functional. If you'd like to check it out, please do it in the link in the description. And if you had any issues while it was down, please let me know. You can send me an email or direct message or whatever. Alright, so LEGO has recently revealed the new Speed Champion sets. I'm going to look at them here on my phone because I could look at them on the computer screen there, then I wouldn't be looking into the camera, and that would make it more boring. Alright, first up, we're going to start with this 2-pack set, the only 2-pack in this series so far. In this 2025 kind of waves of sets, first wave was just all the F1 cars, second wave we got our kind of normal Speed Champion sports cars. So, the Lamborghini Revuelto and Huracan STO. This is kind of interesting because technically it should be like the Huracan and Aventador go together, and the Revuelto and the new Tamario go together, and we have one from each thing. Not a huge deal, just kind of interesting marketing-wise. Well, okay, let's go what I think about these models. So first up, good colors. STO is, I think it's Dark Azure, which I don't think we've had a Speed Champions car in yet, and it's one of my favorite colors, so that's sick. With nice orange accents, and the Revuelto is orange, which looks quite nice. Starting with the Huracan, I'm not a huge fan of this. I think I actually like the really old Huracan Super Trofeo from a very long time ago better. Because there's a lot of shapes on this one that do not look good to me. The front, a lot of models in this wave use the new kind of curved wedge slope, this piece and similar pieces for headlights, and they just have a print on them. And in some cars, I totally get it. Like with the old 812 Superfast set, the old, I say old as in it's like not the current wave of sets. The 812 set, the Aston Martin Vantage, they worked fine there. It was quite close to the shape of the real car, and the print just worked really nicely with it. On the Huracan doesn't look like this. Like if you take this print off, this does not look like a Huracan nose. I mean the part underneath it does, but just this upper part does not. The side is really flat. The Huracan is like somewhat flat on the side, but I just feel like this is lacking a lot of like shaping and detail. Side skirt does look good, but if you just go up to the back here, this wedge slope piece is completely out of place to me. It doesn't line up in the front, it does not line up even more in the back, it just looks really bad. The roof line does look quite nice though. There's a roof intake and there's a nice little fin in the back. Wing looks good. And in the rear, the wedge plates surrounding the rear look quite nice, as well as the kind of train guardrail piece that's used around to kind of form that orange stripe around the exhaust. I think that actually looks quite nice. You can see the side of the car from the rear just does not look good at all to me. I still feel like it just looks way too chunky. The old Huracan set, even if maybe the detail was worse or the build was worse, just the shaping was better. This just does not look, it looks like a toy, which some Speed Champions do suffer from looking like toys and some suffer less from looking like toys. Obviously they are toys, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, I just feel like, not a big fan of that one. And then now we're just gonna go from like bad to worse, at least in my opinion. Obviously these are still like fine, they're like whatever, and maybe plenty of people like them, and that's great. But we have the Revuelto here, and this just, to me, it looks vaguely like Revuelto, but it just looks messy. The front just is very jagged and open, lots of gaps, and plenty of Speed Champions are jagged and open and gaps. And ironically, I'm kind of complaining about the opposite of what I just complained about the Huracan. The Huracan has these curved slopes that are super clean and don't look that accurate. Here they've kind of taken the opposite approach and tried to make something much more accurate with more pieces, and it ended up looking quite messy. Now, when I kind of critique these cars, I am trying not to critique them to custom models like I build or like others build, because obviously when you have no limitations on parts or who can, like, no little kids are going to be playing with these, so you can build them however you want. But I am keeping in mind that LEGO has made plenty of really good looking Speed Champions cars, and so in a lot of cases I feel like they could have tried a bit harder, and sometimes it's just whoever's designing it. Maybe they're not used to designing cars, they don't have the same priorities. They switched the main designer a couple of years back, or like a year or two ago, and the cars have arguably not as been good since he left. And yeah, I just feel this Revuelto, it doesn't feel like that much effort was put into it. It just does not feel like that quality of a design. I think it's also got like the rake to it where the rear wheels are slightly higher than the front wheels, so it sits like at an angle, which I don't think looks so great, especially on a Lamborghini, which is not generally a car that needs a design like that, I feel. The side actually looks okay. There's some interesting wedges and stuff, although this big kind of wedge tiles slapped on the rear side, the rear quarter panel, I think that would be called, does not look very good to me. The rear actually looks okay. There's some nice, it's actually all, this is where it's brick built, but the detail actually looks pretty good. The diffuser is nice, the taillights are those carrot top pieces, those look nice. The exhausts are those stud shooters, they're very large, but I think they work well here. I just overall don't think it looks good. Like here, you can look at this picture on the back of the box. You can compare the Revuelto to the picture of the real thing sitting next to it, and it just looks really messy to me. And you know, it's Lego, it's not going to look perfect, but it just doesn't look good. Ironically, they've also released a big Technic Revuelto this year, and I also feel like that doesn't scream Revuelto to me. It looks more like an Aventador to me. So maybe the Revuelto is just a really hard car to build in Lego. I don't know. So anyway, there's that one. I wouldn't get it, although the parts in Dark Azure for the Huracan are quite nice. Next up, we have the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. Now, this is interesting because at this 2025, I believe the Hellcat is 10 years old now, and I don't have any problem with Lego building an old modern car, because obviously they build classic stuff. Dodge technically just replaced this with the new like Charger thing, which I've heard is not a very good car, so I don't blame them for not building that one. I don't think many people think that is a very cool car, while on the other hand, many people think the Hellcat is a very cool car, and it's quite iconic at this point, so I don't blame Lego at all for building this. It's probably going to sell quite well, and I do like the car myself. And this design actually looks incredible. It feels like a bunch of effort has been put into making it look like both nice and detailed. Around the front, there's some really just nice stuff with these transparent clip pieces for the headlights. There are these new curved slopes underneath forming the front bumper. The front splitter is a bit messy with the tooth pieces, but it's okay. Intakes on the hood are really nice formed at road sign pieces. The rear also looks great. It's got a kind of really cool technique to get the taillights, appropriate like bumper shaping and exhausts and all that stuff. The rear is really high up off the ground compared to the real car. Not a huge fan of that. Same with the sides of the car, are just really high up. The wheels also look kind of janky because it's that race car wheel piece, and it's just got a big 1x1 round plate in the center, which looks really weird to me. I'm not quite sure why they did that. But overall, just actually really solid, and it's in lime green too. One thing I will say, lots of really nice colors in this wave, which I really appreciate. Dark Azure on the Huracan, orange on the Revuelto, we have lime here. We're gonna see a orange or bright light orange car coming up here, as well as a pink car. So good job Lego for putting cool colors in this wave. Next up, we have the Bugatti 110, which is based on the Chiron, a tribute to the very old, not very old, relatively old EB110 from the 90s. And so it's kind of design references a lot of things off of EB110. This model looks quite nice. There are a couple of kind of Lego design compromises, but considering those, I think it's probably about as good as they could do. We can see that they've used these big tooth claw pieces for the front intakes. Those are quite nice. The headlights are once again kind of like the Huracan. It's just like a big flat surface with the design just, at the same time, this shape is much better suited to the 110, and so it works okay. And obviously, this is a pretty unique headlight design, so if you were to try to replicate it with parts, it would probably be pretty complicated. The windscreen is very good here. It's the Utopia one with a nice print on it. This one also has a specific wheel rim design that's like exactly to the design of the 110. It looks pretty good. Oh, it does stick out quite a bit, which I'm not a huge fan of. The side also looks quite nice. Just some nice shaping, curved slopes and panels and such. Cool sign piece up towards the top with the vents in it. The rear of this actually is quite nice. The lower down we have the exhaust, and has this really distinct exhaust that are just formed with the round plates, which looks really good. I see multiple cleavers down there for the diffuser, and just a couple interesting details around the wheels. There's a cool thin white stripe that's formed with seemingly brackets and road signs on the side. Really interesting angle, so that's sick. The taillights are stickers. I feel like they don't have to be stickers. I feel like they could just have used a line of plates there. That's fine. The wing looks a bit thick because it's a bunch of curved slopes, or wedge plates stacked on top of each other. But again, for the front, actually looks quite nice. So this one, another good job, Lego. About as good as it gets, for I would imagine, for a Speed Champions official set 110. Next up, we have the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, the new 992 generation one. And this one, well, it looks really nice until it gets to the headlights, and then it just kind of ruins it. And this is where I still feel the same thing with the Huracan, where they use this kind of big, I'm not going to call it a overly preformed part, because I think this is a useful curved slope, but it just feels kind of slapped on there. This print is kind of slapped on there. It just fills a gap. It doesn't feel like a proper solution to the headlight problem, if you want to put it that way. Someone in our Discord server, which you can join down below if you like building Lego cars, someone did come up with a really cool, like, modified version of this set with brick built headlights, and that's great. I don't think Lego could have used something like that because it's much more intricate. But I just feel like this is not it. I don't know what they would have done, but this just feels really lazy to me. And it's sad because I think the rest of the design is great. This great representation of like all the different aerodynamic parts around the car. The wing looks great. The side looks pretty good. The rear window has like a cool slope angle to it, and it's got the fins on top for the aerodynamic parts again. I think it's really good, and it's a great color. I think it's bright orange or orange. I'm not great at telling orange colors apart, so let me know which one it is. But either way, it looks great, like until you get the headlights, and it just kind of sucks. So again, a cool one to modify. Ironically, I think that's actually the set I would be most likely to buy or will be buying, because I think the rest of it is so cool. And finally, while we're on the topic of real Lego, we have the Honda S2000 from Too Fast, Too Furious. This one's very cool because it's pink. It's an extremely weird color for a Speed Champions car. And so that's sick. Like I said, great job Lego at putting weird and cool colors in this wave of sets. I was going to say similar to the Porsche, but I actually feel like this is not the same case as the Porsche, because while this car looks okay until you get to the front for me, I do think overall the quality just doesn't seem on par with the other sets or what Speed Champions is possible of doing. Did that make sense? I feel like it's not that good. The front, I get what they were going for, but the S2000 is a very smooth car, and even with the weird body kit that the movie car has on it, this just still looks super jagged in the front, and I don't like it at all, especially with this very detailed headlight print. It just looks really strange to me. I will say most of the body shaping looks good. The sides are a bit flat, but you know, the S2000 is not the weirdest shaped car, so I think that works. Livery looks quite good. It looks to be a combination of stickers and prints. Again, these pink parts will probably come in super handy for some cool models to rebuild this thing into. Got a new windscreen piece, which is an interesting kind of convertible part. Got a cool interior, which interestingly seems to be a theme with these Fast and Furious sets, because the GTR we got a little while back looked kind of janky on the outside and had a really nice interior. Seems to be the same deal with this. And the rear it's quite blocky, I want to say. It's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't look good. If I took all the stickers off it wouldn't look anything like an S2000 in my opinion. Not that the S2000 is like the most iconic looking car design ever. I just feel like this isn't a very good looking design. We did get new rims in this wave though. You can see some of them here on this one. You can see some of them on like the Revuelto and on the 911 GT3 RS. I might have preferred more traditional looking car rims than these that are a bit fancy, but I think they're okay. And they will definitely be very welcome after like, what? How long has it been since they introduced the 8 wides? Like 5 years? 4 years now? So a new design is very welcome. And yeah, that is all the real Lego ones. And so now let's look at the fake Lego ones, if you want to call them that. So most of you are probably familiar with Mega Bloks, which is like Mattel's kind of Lego competitor. I have no idea what they're doing these days. I have no idea if they still exist. But basically, Mattel, I'm guessing Mattel thought, but they said, oh, Lego Speed Champions, they're selling pretty well. We have a big car-related brand at Hot Wheels. Let's try and make our own Speed Champions effectively. And so they did. And they released them right around the same time that Lego revealed the new Speed Champions, or that they came up on the internet. So I'll take a quick look through them and tell you what I think of them, because I actually think they're quite interesting. The first one we have that's like Speed Champion scale is the Cadillac V-Series R, I think it's called, the GTP car. And you can see here, it comes with a Hot Wheels version, which I actually do have up there on the shelf somewhere. I have the Hot Wheels one you can get by itself. It's a very cool model. It's like a little 2-pack. You can see it comes with some different rims. Now one thing about these, and one thing that's kind of true about Mega Bloks in general, or Mattel's bricks, whatever you want to call them, there's no Mega Bloks branding on this at all. They're trying to go for a more premium thing. I think it looks like they're calling it Mattel Brick Shop, which is not the most creative name ever, but it works, I guess. They're trying to go for a more premium feel with the Hot Wheels branding. And you can still see there are a lot of big preformed parts on this, much like Mega Bloks and Mattel have done previously. But it looks quite good. I can see it's got opening doors. Like, it has a decent amount of normal part-looking parts. And I would actually be really intrigued to buy this when it comes out and compare it to Lego. Because one thing I have seen with Mega Bloks and like similar things is that usually the part quality and how they fit together is not as good as Lego, which Lego is generally pretty good about. Recently they've seemed to be some exceptions, but generally Lego is quite good about keeping the quality of the parts up, as well as the part colors on some off-brand ones like Mega Bloks not being so great, where bright colors are kind of faded looking. The model itself, as you can see, looks very much like a Cadillac GTP. It looks almost like a scaled model. And so there's obviously a lot of preformed parts being used here, but I like that something's out there to kind of keep Lego on their toes. I have no idea, maybe this will fail miserably and nobody will buy any. But I like the idea that there's some competitor out there, because like we've just seen, some of these Speed Champions, I mean, admittedly a lot of using more preformed parts, but in cases like the Revuelto, something like this that's almost a scale model looking, I kind of like the idea that something's out there to compete with Lego, because there's not really much competition otherwise. There's also an MC20, which looks good, but again, very preformed, lots of big parts. Interestingly, these sets also need to come with stickers, like extra stickers with like logos and stuff you can stick on the cars. They also made this Camaro, which is based off of like a Hot Wheels design Camaro, so in my opinion it doesn't look that much like a Camaro, but it looks kind of interesting. Here I feel like you can see the green is a bit faded looking as opposed to like what color it should be. They also have some big cars, like they have this big NSX, and this is like, I'm guessing this is roughly the same scale as like the big 911 and Countach sets, and it's only 60 bucks, I think. And again, very preformed, but it looks really nice, and I'd be intrigued to get one of these. So, there's also a big Ford truck and a 300 SL Gullwing and a Corvette Grand Sport, I think, yeah. So interesting little lineup. I have no idea how these are going to sell. I have no idea what the people's perception of off-brand Lego is these days. If the Hot Wheels like name is strong enough that people will be like, oh, I'll buy that instead of Lego, because it's the same thing. So I do hope they do well, because I do hope that Lego gets in competition and Speed Champions, like they keep the quality up, and keeping like a good building experience and good designs. So all I have to say, there are a great amount of nice looking, seemingly nice, to put together models on the buildable model car market now. I guess I might make a video of the Mattel ones if I buy some, the Hot Wheels ones if I get some. I don't really review Speed Champions at this point. There's plenty of other people who do. And yeah, with that, let me know what you think in the comments of all these sets. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you will return to watch the next video.